quick overview of the TPMS 80 internal tyre pressure tool. So basically, in new tyres these days, you're going to have an internal tyre pressure sensor. Common now in like sort of overseas countries have been like law for many years. Normally here, just our newer models are starting to get them. So obviously this has a sensor in here, and I can send it to the car's ECU, and I'll let you know if the tyre's flat or if there's any issues. So these have sort of a battery in them, and they're disposable. So you like chuck them out when you change your tyres. I normally put a new one back in. The battery life is like normally 3 years on them also. But normally whenever you change the tyres, just get them all changed out. So inside, this is what they look like basically. So that is like the pressure part, that is the valve part. So obviously they just go together like that, and that's what you have inside the tyre reading the pressure. Now obviously like these tools, we sell the generic ones, because obviously if you're a tyre shop or whatnot, you probably just want to have some generic ones on there. They're going to work with like 98% of cars. These do the dual wavelengths, so the 433 and 315 are so megahertz. So that's the easiest thing to do. You just have a few of these on the shelf and like use them as you need them. We do sell these, and the valves come in like rubber, silver aluminium or black aluminium. So that's basically it. That here is what is inside your tyre here. Now this tool allows you to program the generic ones, program factory OEM ones, and just check them and diagnose things. So we'll power this up. These valves here can also be, the ones that we sell can also be programmed by the Altel tools. So either the Altel tools or this tool here. So basically here's what you're going to see on your screen. Now for example, if we go into quick mode here, you can obviously go down and choose the car. This is a Haval, this is like a H6. We come into it. Now for example, we go scan a single sensor. You just put it up here. So yes to trigger it, it picks up the data. So you can see what we've got going on here. We've got the hex ID, which is obviously basically what it has to sort of know, that is that sensor. So that's basically what you're doing when you reprogram them, is you're saying, hey, that sensor isn't here anymore, we have a new one. Now you have the pressure, so it's saying 36.3, the temp, and the voltage. So that is what that is bringing in. Now just showing that same screen here, you can come down to sensor information here. But UN is universal sensors, so these ones that we sell. Just going to show you what happens obviously when we scan this here. Now it's brought through all the data of this sensor, our universal one here. Now you can see it's dual band, blah 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 blah. You got pretty much everything there, the voltage, software, and whatnot. Now the OEM will pick up your OEM ones, so it's just pulling out the data that's actually stored in this database related to that car. So that is basically that. So we'll just cover the full system check, and then we'll do go through the programming. So it's a handy thing to do in here. If we go into advanced, you can do a diagnostic check on everything. So clear previous data, yes. So it's going to basically ask us to trigger each sensor, and then it's going to ask us to plug our tool into the OBD-2 port in the car. So we go to the front left sensor here, trigger it, picks the data up, it says yes, it's all good. Then it goes to right front. So it's basically doing a test on each one. Trigger it, yes, we're all good. Rear right. So this is just a handy, it's all good. So you can see we're getting the ticks here. A handy way just to diagnose a TPMS system. It's a good check to do if you're tight for your sort of customers or whatnot, because you could see flat ones. Now it's saying please connect to the OBD-2 of the vehicle. So come into your car here. Your OBD port is going to be down here. It's going to be down above the pedals. That's the plug there. You're looking for the opposite version of that. Obviously, tool's going to plug into here. We're going to plug this into the bottom of the tool. Make sure the ignition of the car is on. Press yes to continue. I don't know if you hope you can see that. Now it's just going to check that we're not getting any errors coming out of the TPMS system. So all the IDs are checked. Everything's all good. So we've got no diagnostic trouble codes, and all the IDs and sensors are fine. So that's a very handy thing to do there. You can check all of the sensors. Now you've obviously got position relearn. So obviously if you are changing the tyres around, you've got to relearn that. You got some information here, which is just going to talk about what I talked about before. Then you got program sensors, so that's when you are replacing your sensors. So there's a few different ways to do it: copy by OBD, copy by activation, and then copy by manual input. So if we go through the copy by OBD here, we'll just scan it again. It's just going to pick up the IDs you need. is to pick them all up. Yes, we want to copy them. Then it's saying programming left front like sensor. So now you want to do is grab your generic sensor, or the one you're going to use, and put it in front of here. That's going to copy it, the ID onto that, and it's going to be program that sensor. So that left so the front one will have the same thing going now. So that's basically that. Copy by activation is the same. Manual input, you can manually enter in the sensor ID or the hex code. Now that there was just taking you back. So if we go back, we've got 2, advanced mode and quick mode. You just don't have a couple of the options there. So it was pretty much just going to have some data of the relearn procedure for each type of car. So it's like saying activate them all, turn ignition on and off, perform relearn instructions that come up on the tool here. TPMS light turns off and the pressure value show that after relearn. Turn ignition back on, do like a road test. So it's gonna, each car can be slightly different, or they're generally the same. It could have a relearn process just like that. For example, copy by activation is a pretty easy one. So click yes. I've already done this one, but let's go to the right front anyway. We'll do the right front sensor. So press yes to copy, press the trigger button here, brings in the data, go back. Now you can see we've got the hex code for that. Go yes. Now it's saying put our aftermarket one here in front of it. Programming, sorry, you can see that, programming. Just hold it there until this is done. Programming successful, all done. Press any key to continue. Now it's saying please install this into that tyre. So that's the most common way to do it. You basically just copy the sensor that's in the car and relearn it onto here. Now obviously that's not going to work if the sensor in the car's dead, so that's why you obviously might have to get data from here or use a different method. Obviously if the sensors are still good, you can just do that, and it's fairly straightforward. So you can see that's all coming up there, and it's saying that you've copied one onto there with that little other symbol there. Now to explain what's happened just here, so if I go scan a single sensor now, I go yes, I'm going to trigger it on this one we just did. See that data there is coming through here, and check that top code there, 9224, the ID. You see that's what it is. Now I'll go up here and do the one we copied before. Sorry, I picked up the other one because it was in my hand behind it. You can see, I could tell it was the other one because obviously it had no pressure on it. Now you can see it's picked up that same one again, 9224, with the new PSI. So that is basically how it works. That's basically how the tools work there. So you can copy sensors, diagnose the system. You can copy OEM sensors as well. Obviously the easiest way to do it is just to copy and then put the sensor in, bin the old sensor. That's basically it. So pretty much something you I do need to have now with a lot of modern cars having these TPMS systems in them.